Hello, guys. This is Satella, and I just wanted to continue with our topic on 4D consciousness. And today we're going to be speaking about 4D consciousness and the solar plexus, continuing on the Health and Wealth Wednesday. I know it's not Wednesday. I couldn't get to the recording yesterday, and I really wanted to get this out to you this week. So please forgive me. Having said that, last week we talked about the 4D consciousness, the dark night of the soul, and the shadow work. And this is just going a bit further into that. So today's topic is 4D consciousness and the solar plexus energetic center. Just getting some housekeeping out of the way. I would ask you to please like and subscribe and share and comment on the video. And even if there's something you would like me to talk about, put it in the comments and I'll see if I can facilitate doing that. It really helps me out, so thank you very much. So let us go into the topic for today. The word chakra is not mentioned in the Bible, certainly not the King James version of the Bible. It's not there. You won't find it. And it's not a Hebrew word, it's a Sanskrit word. And the word means wheel and refers to the energy points in our body, in your body, that are spinning discs of energy that should stay open and aligned. They are connected to bundles of nerves and major organs of our energetic body that affect our emotional and physical well-beings. You know, I can say many, many years ago, back in like 2002, probably even before, I had no idea about all of this stuff at that time. But I knew I was having this experience when I was praying and I was meditating, I was worshiping. I would find this spinning sensation happening to me. I had nobody in my community at that time that could tell me my chakras were opening. And if they did, I probably would have rejected it based on my Christian beliefs at the time. As you know, I am a follower of Yeshua and Yahweh, but I no longer consider myself a quote unquote Christian, but a believer of the way of Yahweh and Yeshua. So having said that, I just want to lay some foundations here because you're not going to find the word chakra in the Bible, but you will find scriptures that definitely relate to what it is. So in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 6, it says, earnestly remember your Creator before the silver cord, in brackets, of life is broken, or the golden bowl is crushed, or the pitcher at the fountain is shattered, and the wheel of the cistern is crushed. Isn't that interesting that this is speaking about the silver cord of life that is before the Creator, the golden bowl, which is interesting because the solar plexus color is a golden yellow or yellowish golden color. And it's speaking about the wheel of the cistern being crushed. And this is interesting because when this energetic center, I prefer to use the word energetic center because it really is what it is. It's talking about the energies. But it's speaking here, this whole verse of scripture right here is pretty profound. Let's go on. Acts chapter 17 and 28 says, for in him we live and move and exist, in brackets, that is in him we actually have our being. For in him we live and move and exist. That is in him we actually have our being. And the truth of the matter is, and Yeshua said it, ye are gods. Do you not know this? And so we are, all of us, an aspect of the Creator, Yahweh, source, pushed out, experiencing life in this reality. Psalms chapter 139, verses 13 and 14 says, "For you formed my innermost parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will give thanks and praise to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul," in brackets here, your mind, will, and emotions, your intellect, knows it very well. Isn't that amazing? That all of these scriptures basically are talking about what the energetic centers of the body does. The solar plexus energy center relates to your personal boundaries, self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem, your power, intellect, feelings, emotions. It also is where our issues around anger and neediness, and where our traumas and wounds and this conditional love resides. It's located around the abdomen, about 3 inches above the navel. As I said, the 4D consciousness and the dark night of the soul. This is where you're confronting every aspect of your life. Aspects of the solar plexus are, it's where the fire, we talk about the fire in your belly, fire deep down in my soul. Well, the solar plexus is where the fire is to make things happen. It's your self-definition. And it's also in the lower mental body area. The color of the solar plexus is a yellow gold or golden color. It's the color of wisdom. It's trust and power. And when this energetic center is opening in 4D consciousness, you will begin to experience intense feelings of relaxation, yes, wisdom and calmness. No matter what the situation you find yourself in at any moment, you're not going to react as you would as if you were in a 3D consciousness. And remember, as I said, these levels of consciousness is what they are. 3D consciousness is a level of consciousness around scarcity and lack and hustle culture. It's you're trying to survive. The 4D consciousness level is you're out of that survival mode, but you're not fully into a 5D conscious level of thinking as yet. You're working through your issues, your traumas, you're confronting them so that you can enter into this state. It begins to allow you to find yourself at any moment reacting in a new way, because a new you is emerging because your consciousness is shifting. The solar plexus is responsible for your energy identity, your digestion, and your metabolism. It regulates your ability to fit in, to feel self-assured, your self-confidence, and as to how you approach your work and follow your purpose in life. Because this is what really happens in the dark night of the soul and the shadow work. You're beginning to question things, and you're beginning to say, you know, who am I? Why am I here? Is Yahweh real? And if he is, if Yahweh is real, what does it mean to me? Why am I here? All of those things are going on in 4D consciousness thinking. So when your solar plexus is blocked because of the wounds, because of the traumas, because of the issues of life, when your solar plexus is blocked, as in the dark night of the soul, you're not balanced. And even though you will have measures of success in business and relationship, okay, you're going to have some levels of success. You're going to have some relationships that are really wonderful, whether they're personal relationships or business relationship, friendships, and so forth with your family. There's still going to be some issues, but they're not profoundly affecting you in the same way as they did when you were in a 3D consciousness level of understanding. So you will still have this deep sense of not being fulfilled. But as you continue to work through your issues, you have placed yourself on a pathway to healing. And this does not happen overnight. It could and usually does take a number of years. But, and I say but, you're shedding the old false self of the ego and transitioning into your new, truer, higher self. And it is a process. And if you continue through the process, oh, what a reward will you receive. Now, when your solar plexus is blocked, so let's talk about the symptoms of a blocked solar plexus. It could lead to several metabolic and digestive issues. Some of the physical symptoms that you might be experiencing right now are as follows, okay? Digestive issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, and Crohn's disease, diabetes, eating disorders, weight issues. Remember, it's dealing with your metabolism. And when you're stressed, cortisol rises in the body, which allows you to not shed weight. Chronic fatigue, liver dysfunction, and stomach ulcers. Also, when your solar plexus energetic center is misaligned, it may also manifest in various unpleasant emotional feelings, like you find yourself becoming dominating or being aggressive or manipulative behavior. You remember, you're dealing with your wounds and your trauma, so all of these things are coming up. And neediness and victim mentality, feeling powerless and stressed, constantly seeking validation and approval from others, low self-esteem and low confidence, feeling shameful and negative, okay? Now remember, as I said, the reason this is happening is because you are transitioning, you're through this process, you're working out, you're confronting. Remember, I said the other day, you know, the person who offended you, abused you, hurt you, may not be alive. And so you can't really go to them in the physical and forgive them or release them, but you can still do the process because this is an inner work for you. And it's a part of forgiveness. You know, by the way, I'm releasing a video on forgiveness. So please listen to that and it will help you. Because what happens is, as you're working through all of this stuff and all of these things, emotions, feelings, the symptoms of your wounds and your traumas are showing up in your body. And because they're showing up in your body, think about it this way, it gives you more opportunity to work and address with these things. So how do we open and heal the solar plexus energy? When the solar plexus is balanced, you stand confidently in your own personal power, right? So this energy center is connected to the element of fire, symbolizing the desire to be seen and take action. Remember, the fire of the solar plexus is the flame of your inner flame that provides you with the energy and the motivation to create positive changes and embrace transformation. Transformation that allows you to let go of what no longer serves you for renewal and growth. When I went through this process and I started changing, it was so funny. I remember my family said to me, do you still love us? Do you love us? It's like you don't love us anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, it was like an intervention was going on. And I'm in the room. My father is deceased, he's passed away, so he wasn't here. But my mother and all of my siblings, and they were like, what has happened to you? And they were like, you are the most of us. You are the most balanced of all of us. But it's like, you no longer love us. You don't want to be around us. And there was a level of truth to that because of the transformation, because of the process of the dark night of the soul and the shadow work that was happening for me. But could I really say that to them? Because what you have to understand here is sometimes you can't explain this to the people who are closest to you. And so when they're looking from their perspective from the outside, and most of what has happened to you is an inner work of transformation, of you having to deal with things that happened to you during the course of your life, it's difficult to share it and explain it to persons who are not in that space of going through that process of the dark night of the soul, and particularly to people who are still living and functioning from a 3D consciousness. I remember my elder sister would always say to me, said, life is a hustle. I'm hustling every day. I'm working. And my elder brother, he would say to me, I can't tell you what to do, but I just want you to be you. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all of this and I'm thinking, if you guys understand how much I love you. I didn't say this because it just didn't make sense in the moment to express this to them, because they were just thinking from that 3D consciousness perspective level about what life is supposed to be. The security, it was like, why did you walk away from your job? Because there was no longer fulfilling to me. It was like it was strangling me and choking me. So I could not be there and I couldn't do that. But they couldn't explain it because they just knew the old scripture that said, man should live by the sweat of his brow. And if you don't work, you shouldn't eat. And, my sister would say, you're the only one of us who went to college. You have a degree, but you're just like, what are you doing? You just want to pray. And yes, to some degree, because all of us, the process is a little different. It's unique to us. But that was a space where I was in, and it was so very difficult for them to understand. It was it was really funny to me going through that process with them in a not funny comedic way, but just, it's amazing when you're going through this process that the people around you, your family is your family, and sometimes they're the hardest ones. to open up to and share the process that you're going through. So if you're in that space right now, please, I give you my sympathy and my love I send to you as well. But you know, as I said, this transformation allows you to let go of what no longer serves you, even with your extended family, your friends. You know, my best friend and I were still friends, but when we used to talk every day, when we could just be in each other's presence and be so comfortable without having to say anything, and we are also business partners. So, but because, and she's a believer as well, but because we're in different stages of our belief, it's difficult. And so there are some connectivities that you just cannot not have, you know, because you're going through the dark night of the soul doesn't mean that you should just disown your family, but it might mean that you have to put boundaries in place, and you have to now say, okay, this used to happen then, this is not going to happen now. And those were some of the things that I certainly had to do. So when this transformation of is happening, where no longer what serves you for, you know, for your renewal and for your growth, because those old patterns of behavior and beliefs and family dynamics and friendship dynamics were one way, but you're no longer in that space. And so now you have to put some boundaries in place, and you have to say to your friends and to your family, look, I'm not going to participate in this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. No, I grew up in that church, but I'm not going to that church anymore. You just have to, you're not trying to go into a full-fledged disclosure. And this is why the setting of the boundaries are so important for your own self-worth, your own mental and emotional state as you go through this process. You can do it with grace. As I said, in every situation, no matter what it is, in the moment, you can go through it with a sense of relaxation and a sense of calmness. Because now you understand what's going on. Maybe before you didn't know what was happening to you, but you're understanding now what the process is and how to transition in it a little bit better. Okay? So when you begin to master this transition, when you begin to start to move from duality and bring balance, there's a radiance within you that shines forth effortlessly. And you're able to share your unique gifts with the world. What I'm doing right now, I should have been doing 10 years ago. But I was still so much in the struggle of trying to be the successful person from a 3D perspective. Listen to this, from a 3D perspective, trying to be a 5D enlightenment person. And it was such a chasm between those two perspectives of consciousness. It made it even more painful because I knew I wanted to be someone else. I knew there was this other person that was inside of me that wanted to live from another space. But the realities of, you know, you got to pay the light bill. You got to buy food. You have to have shelter and clothing and transportation to get to and from. You got to have money. That's the 3D consciousness of survival. It's the scarcity mindset construct, trying to come to terms with, you're more concerned with the planet with climate change, with how we treat one another, and you just want to understand and have a relationship with your creator in a better way. And those things don't really lend itself to the 3D perspective of survival and sustainability. Because in that echelon of 5D consciousness, you now have a revelation that you don't have to strive. It's what Yeshua said in Matthew chapter 6. Why do you struggle? Why do you stress about what you should eat or what you should drink? This is what he was saying. Why are you worried about these things? Don't you know your Father in heaven? What was Yeshua saying? Don't you know that when you reach into the inner echelons of the kingdom of Yahweh, which is in you, all of these things are already provided for you and will automatically show up and come into your life. From a 3D perspective understanding, it's like you're talking nonsense to someone who isn't going through the process of transformation and shifting. But as you know, this is why I wanted to do these videos on 4D, because it seems like everyone is thinking that you can just shift from 3D consciousness to a 5D consciousness thinking, a way of living. Because you see, in a 5D consciousness way of living, you understand the currency, that kesef, money, which is energy. When you're living in the 5D perspective consciousness, you understand that there is an abundance. There's no lack. There's no lack anywhere. There's no lack of supply. So that whatever you require is just always going to come to you. Am I saying that you don't do things? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you recognize that you are a being of enlightenment, and in enlightenment, there is no scarcity, there is no lack, because you understand that you come from an infinite source, and from that infinite source that has infinite abundance and supply, you can never be without what you require at any given moment. I almost want to say hallelujah, and I did. So as you stand with an unwavering confidence, unaffected by the opinions of others, this is where the relaxation and the calmness come in, because you have now bridged the chasm. You're on the other side of it. And you're not going to argue with people. You're not going to try to win the argument. You're not going to try to have the last word, because you don't need to. Because you're living from an internal state. And all you have to do sometimes is just be quiet and let them get it all off their chest. And I found myself saying, are you done? Okay, I heard you, and I'll take it under consideration. I'm not going to try to explain it. I'm not going to try. And sometimes they'll just look at you like, have you lost your freaking mind? No, I have found myself. And guess what? It might not align with what you want me to be. Because remember, most of us in our adult life are living the life that our parents perpetrated on us, of what the culture at the time that we were born into when they were adults said what we should be. In other words, get married, get a great job, maybe go to school, go to college, get married, get a good job, get a government job, get something that's safe and secure. Get a house, get a mortgage, get a car, and then you spend the rest of your life trying to pay those things off. go to university, get this degree, and then you have a educational debt. You're trying to work to pay that off, get married, get another debt to get a house, get a car, all of these things that the extended collective societal culture says is the norm. When you reach a point, and this is when you enter the dark night of the soul, when you begin to realize you might have the cars, the houses, the money, but you're still not fulfilled. You might have a great spouse. It isn't that you don't love them anymore, but you're shifting and they're not. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you were going through the shift together? Because then you can experience it together. But most times, one person is shifting and the other person is not, and it creates conflict. But you're in a space now where you don't feel that you have to explain yourself. You just have to be. This is who I am. I'm still your husband. I'm still your wife. I'm still your son. I'm still your brother. I'm still your sister. You know, I'm still your father. I'm still your mother. I love you, but I no longer want to be an accountant. I no longer want to be a doctor working 100 hours a week. I feel a calling that is of my truest self to do this. This is the purpose I was put here for. And, you know, sometimes the transitioning is not as hard as we think. You know, maybe if you're an accountant, but you don't want to be in a corporate setting anymore, you can still be an accountant, but you can be an accountant now where you begin to teach people economic and financial accountability and how to become free. You can still be a doctor, but you can perhaps be a part of Doctors Without Borders, or you can create a nonprofit where you're using your medical skills to help people in disenfranchised communities in your city. You see, it's all a matter of perspective of how you begin to transition what it is that you have. I have a degree in marketing, but I don't want to be out there trying to sell ad campaigns. That's just not who I am as a spiritual person. This, what I'm doing now, is in alignment with what I was called to do. This is using my gift to speak and impart wisdom and knowledge. So this is when you begin to come into and own your true self, because you're no longer competing with the ego. Remember in the last video, go and watch it, because we spoke about the ego death. You know, the ego has to die to a certain degree. And if it tries to resurrect itself, you're so mature in your process of consciousness and enlightenment, you're able to say to the ego, yeah, I saw that, I recognized it. Thank you for showing it to me, and move on. Again, so you're able to maintain a strong self of self-worth. Now, ways to balance and heal your solar plexus energetic center. And I'll tell you this. A couple of weeks ago, I had a dream, and in the dream, I saw the word yoga in big letters. And I'm like, okay, yoga, what do you want me to do with that? And even as I'm going through this here, even for myself, because as I said, the process never stops. Even in 5D consciousness, there's a way that you have to deal with these things at that level as well. But ways to balance and heal. the solar plexus energetic center are twisting types of yoga poses. Candle gazing, go in your room, put on some meditative music, maybe a theta hertz level, a 174 that has to deal, Solfeggio frequency that has to deal with healing and pain. Remember, you're dealing with your traumas. So candle gazing is you set an environment, because remember, there's the flame of fire that's connected to the solar plexus. Meditate with your eyes closed, facing the sun. Do not look at the sun directly with your eyes open. It's just too much energy coming in. But go outside, close your eyes, and for 10, 15 minutes, and just glaze up at the sun and allow the sun to do its thing over your body. Cardio exercises, what that does is it raises the intensity and the heat in the body, the fire. The solar plexus is connected with the color yellow. So wearing yellow, remember, everything is energy. So that energy is of the solar plexus is emanating around you. Eat nourishing foods, yellow peppers, eggs, pineapples, mangoes, yellow squash, yellow split peas, the yellow foods. Learn to say, I choose rather than I have to. As I'm on my journey of beginning to take full ownership back of my body and my health, I say, I choose to eat more healthy. I choose to do exercises that are in alignment with my weight at this stage, as opposed to, I have to exercise today. I have to eat more vegetables and instead of pasta. It isn't that you can't have pasta, it's that you don't need to have it every day. And if you have it from a Mediterranean style of preparation, which is healthy, then you can still have it. But it's saying, I choose to live my life in alignment with my full purpose, as opposed to what the expectations of what somebody else feels I should be doing. And chanting the frequency or the word RAM, R-A-M, Ram. It's like an kind of sound, but it's Ram. So look that up, chanting on that. And also the use of crystals such as citrine, amber, yellow jasper, lemon quartz, and so much more. But this is just what I wanted to share with you today. This is what I wanted to give you. And I really hope it helps you in your process of the 4D consciousness awakening and learning how to balance and deal with the solar plexus so that it's not blocked because you're so frustrated and angry and you're not exactly where you think you ought to be or where you want to be. But the truth is you are exactly where you need to be. And as you go through the process, you continue to be where you need to be. Again, I ask you to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Watch the whole video to the end. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.